Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back, and I wanted to go ahead and give my review on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, before we get into the recap, I want to let you guys know that we're selling merch at www.rodneythavoice.com. This is also a part of the merch that I have available. This is a Release Him Back to the Community t-shirt. We have this available in different colors, um, various sizes and colors. We also have other sayings on t-shirts available. If you're not interested in this, we have coffee mugs, notebooks, bags, leggings, shorts, tank tops. So yeah, just go to www.rodneythavoice.com and check it out. All right, y'all, let's get into this mess. So, evil versus the C word. See, this is the thing, right? Diana was basically trying to justify why she was going after Garcelle on social media because she had called her evil. I don't really watch the after shows like that. I've tuned in like a few times for Atlanta, but I don't think I've ever watched Beverly Hills after show. But Garcelle basically was calling Diana evil when they were having a discussion about when Diana called her a see you next Tuesday when they were in Aspen. So I guess because Garcelle called her evil, Diana, I guess, went on a smear campaign on social media. Now, for me, I think the majority of I'm just gonna say that I'm just gonna speak for most black people. I think most black people don't look at the word "see you next Tuesday" as a derogatory word. So for me, I would say that evil is worse than being called to see you next Tuesday, but that's because see you next Tuesday is not a bad word to me. Now it's bad to I feel like white people, y'all look at it as a bad word. You can't even say the word on TV. You see what I'm saying? Girl, I've heard them say DICK on Bravo. I've heard them say PUSSY on Bravo. They can say BITCH on Bravo. Certain curse words they can use on Bravo, but girl, they will not. They will bleep out. See you next Tuesday. So clearly, girl, the people at Bravo even look at being called to see you next Tuesday worse than being called evil. Because there's only one word out of those two that are being bleeped out. And it's not the word evil. You see what I'm saying? But again, I feel like to most black people, and I'm part of that most black people, the word see you next Tuesday is not a bad word. But when I also know that Diana was just trying to justify her attacking Giselle online by saying she called me evil. Girl. Okay, Diana. And I was really surprised that the white women on the stage, Dorit, Erica, and Lisa, I don't know why I was surprised because anything that has to go against Garcelle, I know at least two out of the three are really going to agree with. Um, but I was kind of surprised that they even said that they thought that the word evil was worse than to see you next Tuesday. Which I really, deep down, I don't think they believe that. I don't. I think that anything that can go against Garcelle, they're gonna go the opposite way. Which word do you think is worse? I think evil is worse. Do you, girl? Do you really? Because I think that evil is worse because I don't look at the see you next Tuesday word. I was trying not to say it. Girl, I don't look at cunt as being a bad word. That's why I would say that. You see what I'm saying? Like I would think that being called a bitch a bitch is worse than being called a cunt because again, cunt is not a bad word. To me, it's not. Anyways, let's move on because we spent too much time on that. Sutton says, I don't need to clear up anything. We are very clear on our non-relationship. She was talking about Diana. Diana started with girls, no tea, no shade. Shout out to the white women. I love white people. Well, some of y'all I love. Um, but Diana starts with that white woman cry. Voice starts trembling and she starts to say, let me say something about Diana. And this is what I wanted to say last week too. Diana, I don't know how much money Diana has, but we'll just say for the argument that Diana is the richest person out of everybody on the stage. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying it. Diana, you said this last week. I felt like, and see, this is the thing, right? I felt like Garcelle was low key, not Garcelle. I felt like Diana was low key trying to say that Garcelle is not in a position to afford lawyers, because last week she mentioned her being like, Diana mentioned that she was in this position where I can afford lawyers to get to the bottom of this. The continuation of last week's conversation. She stated also, because I can afford these lawyers. I've been put in this position to, to be able to pay for these lawyers. Girl, I don't know what you're trying to say, but maybe, and sometimes I will say that, and we're going to get into that conversation about, we can just go ahead and get into it right now, because I just want to get it out the way. One thing I don't want to happen on the show is for these women to feel like Garcelle can't be called out, or if they do go after Giselle, that they'll be called a racist. You see what I'm saying? Like, I do believe that if Garcelle is going to be on the show, then girl, the same way everybody else is fair game, then Garcelle is fair game too. And I don't think it's fair if the girls decide to go after Giselle, that every time they do, that if you are one of those people that are calling them a racist, I don't think that's necessarily fair. Because that's kind of like the name of the game. Everybody can get it. Now, with that being said, there are times on the show and just in life in general where, like, white people, y'all do these things. Y'all have these microaggressions, right? Y'all do these things that you may not be aware that you're doing. And I don't think anybody on the show is racist. I don't. But for example, Lisa Rinna, let me fix my hat. The last episode of the season, when I be looking so cute in these beanies. I do. I be feeling real cute in my beanies like this. The last episode of the season, when they were having a conversation at Cal's house, that diamond party, and they were all sitting around like the fireplace or whatever those things, heater, the lamps. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the last episode. And Garcelle was basically, I think, calling out Erica and Lisa. And you could tell if you go back and watch the episode, Lisa was like, why do you have an attitude, Garcelle? She said something like, why do you have an attitude, Garcelle? Why are you having an attitude with me? And you could tell she was kind of popping her neck a little bit. That's what we'd be talking about. That's what we'd be talking about. Now, I don't know if Lisa is aware that she's doing that, right? The whole neck pop. But girl, you're only doing that. You're not doing all of that when you're talking to the white girls on the cast. So why is it when you talk to the black girl on the black woman on the cast, right? You're not doing that when you talk to any of the white women on the cast. So why is it when you talk to the black woman on the cast, girl, it comes with a little extra this, right? So again, I don't want to go out and say that the girls are racist, because I don't think that that's true. I don't think Lisa Rinna is racist. I don't think that Cal is racist. Erica's racist. Sutton's racist. Diana. Oh, I forgot about Diana. Diana, I'm gonna say I don't know. I forgot about that heifer. I don't. I honestly don't. I will go out on a limb and say that I don't think Lisa, Erica, Dorit, Cal, Sutton, Crystal, because please don't get it twisted. People of color, when that whole people of color stuff, please, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're not. They just have some things to work on. You see what I'm saying? Diana, because of the way that I've seen her move and how she, I help the black community. Like, she's like Girl, the white woman who came down and saved the niggas. Girl. They take a break. Of course, they go in the back. They start talking about, Erica says all of our children have been threatened. Let me just say something. I don't care the age of the children or a person, whoever, right? No one deserves to be threatened. I'm not down with that. Like, that's like, girl, I think that we have to remember that this is a produced reality TV show. And that these reality TV shows, they get nominated for awards, right? They win awards. So we sometimes, and I get it because it happens to me too, sometimes we do get emotionally wrapped up into these Housewives shows, and it's easy to. But I think we also have to keep in mind that this is a produced reality TV show and that nobody should be receiving death threats. It's not that deep. Okay? With that being said, I'm sick and tired of Erica Jane trying to act like, girl, her 30-year-old son, girl, I guess receiving, I don't know. I don't want to say it because at the end of the day, a death threat is a death threat. But I do think it's a little bit different when a 14-year-old is receiving a death threat versus girl, your white son who a cop. And I'm going to leave it at that. Sutton goes to Garcelle's room. Sutton, girl, shut up. Sutton, shut up. Here goes Sutton. I was trying to understand what Crystal was saying. Well, why don't you ask her for what she was saying? That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's why I said last week that I don't care what nobody say. Sutton probably said something that she didn't have no business saying. And we're probably never going to know what it was. But Sutton said something. Sutton, this lady is on the stage and at one point was pretty much trying to insinuate that, girl, you said something borderline racist. And now it's time to address the issue at hand. And instead of you addressing the issue at hand, you just sit over there. And it wasn't until Andy pretty much had to ask you a question for you to chime in on the conversation. And I forgot her response to it. Basically like, what did she say? I forgot what she said. I don't feel like going through. I got so many notes in this thing. I forgot what she said. And I was like, girl, let me try to find it. Because I want to know what she said. Oh, here we go. Diana said, no. I'm going to find it. Hold up, y'all. Give me like 5 seconds. Oh, I understand. What she said last week was, I understand where Crystal is coming from. Maybe I use words I shouldn't have. That's what that heifer said. So it's kind of like, but now you in the back talking about, I was trying to understand where Crystal was coming from. So why didn't you ask her on stage? Why didn't you ask her, girl, the whole purpose of y'all being at the reunion is to address what happened throughout the season. So again, I don't know how to take Crystal and what she said, because I don't like the response that I'm receiving from Sutton. I think if Sutton was more so kind of like, bitch, you know I ain't said nothing. I don't know why you playing these games. And stop it. Right, she said it I know she said it in Mexico. My nose dirty. I thought my nose was dirty, girl. That was a hair. Girl, I'm about to go in here, girl. Let me tell you what I'm about to do. Because I hate nose hair. Girl, I hate nose hair. I bought some of that wax to pull it out because I just want my nose to be smooth. So I'm about to do that later tonight. Y'all pray for me because I feel like it's going to hurt. But I hate using nose clippers because I feel like it cut the inside of my nose. So I just decided to go the waxing route and just see how that works. Anyways, all right. So yeah, I really don't know how to take what Crystal says because of Sutton's response. Because a part of me does believe that Crystal that Sutton probably did say something. Now I don't know if it was as dark as Crystal is trying to make it seem, but nonetheless, I'm still inclined to believe that Sutton said something. All right, where we at? Mo and Dorit having an affair. I mean, I never really. I mean, I get it. You know, I felt like Mo and Dorit, like, I don't know. I never took it that way. I'm just gonna be. I never took it that way. I know some people were saying it online. I think I almost got wrapped up into it, like, ooh, girl, Dorit and PK. I mean, Dorit and Mo, girl. It's kind of like, girl, that's just messy. Like, you don't even think that. Did I catch that time when they were out at dinner and I think Maurice had ordered Dorit's food for her or something like that? But it's kind of like, girl, when you're around people, as much as they're probably around each other, girl, he probably knows what the heifer want. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, girl. I don't want to like, because I know it's nothing there, so it's kind of like I don't even want to go into that. PK, before PK met Dorit, he walked up to Erica and a friend and asked were they porn stars. Girl, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of laughed when Dorit was like, "Girl, I didn't know, I didn't know that story." Girl, what you? Girl, I didn't know that story. Okay. Giselle's $13,000 Birkin bag. Everybody has a Birkin bag. Erica said that's really not her thing. Garcelle talks about Bill Cosby, how she was 18 years old, how she had a small role, I think, on the Bill Cosby show. She went to Bill Cosby's home or apartment or wherever he was staying that night, and he offered her a drink. I don't know if it was alcohol or not. I can't remember. She said she took a sip of the drink and she kind of started feeling uncomfortable, and she said she ran out of the room. Garcelle's book being in the trash. Lisa did it. Girl. This whole time, I think a lot of us, if not most of us, if not all of us, thought that Erica Jane threw threw Garcelle's book in the trash. Coming to find out, it was Lisa Rinna. Lisa was upset because Garcelle, girl, this is the thing. This is what I be talking about when people try to go back and rewrite history. Girl, the way that Lisa tried to make it seem as though it's like Garcelle was talking about her daughter in the book. Girl, Garcelle was talking about a scene that happened on the show. See, that's not the same thing to me. It's kind of like when Ashley tried to make it seem as though Chris was in her DMs because he replied to a story. And when you reply to people's stories, no matter who it is, it goes to your direct message. That's how I feel like Lisa is trying to put it. Like, girl, she talked about my daughter. Girl, she was talking about a conversation that y'all had on the show. Girl. Now, yes, your daughter was a part of that conversation, but stop trying to make it seem as though she was like talking about your daughter. And on top of that, girl, your daughter is a grown ass woman. That's what I'm saying. We gonna stop acting like most of y'all kids ain't grown. Not all of them, of course. Jax, I think Portia, they all children. They have a separate group chat. They have a separate group chat, so that lets you know right there, girl, everything we need to know. Garcelle is not a part of the group chat. Garcelle basically says that when Lisa got in contact with her, or I guess her team, about the book, it was a day before the book was about to, I guess, go on sale, and they really couldn't do anything about it, so they wrote a second copy of the book. And basically, I guess, took that part out. At least, like, to me, shit like that would piss me off because I feel like that's a part of Lisa trying to flex. Like, bitch, you low-key trying to punk me. Because you know damn well I wasn't talking about your child. Right? But it's also like, girl, I don't want to be put in this position where, girl, people can be like, oh, girl, you talked about her child, blah, blah, blah. So, girl, let me just take this shit out of this book and then just re-release the book. You see what I'm saying? Because, girl, I know you low-key trying to punk me on the low. Lisa knew what she was doing. I put Garcelle as over these heifers. You could just tell by Garcelle's facial expressions throughout part one and part two. She was really over Erica and Lisa. Um, Sutton brushing off. Oh, Sutton. Basically they talk about Sutton and her brushing off. Baby, this nose hair is bothering me, and I keep mentioning it, so now I feel like y'all looking right at my nose. Forget what I just said. Um, Sutton brushing off Dorit's break in. Sutton Garcelle says that sometimes Sutton does have a tendency to make things about herself. Um, I'm not gonna lie, it was a kiki. Sutton tried to act like that was the worst thing that she's ever said. Crystal would beg to differ. Okay. But Sutton says that that's the worst thing that she's ever said as far as talking about remember when Kyle mentioned Doris break-in and Sutton was like, bitch! Sutton was like, girl, listen, girl, my furniture ain't here. Girl, my shit was supposed to be coming from Italy, girl. Girl, I'm sorry that I didn't have a gun punch in my girl, because basically Sutton was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck about that bitch having a house getting broken into, girl. I got a furniture emergency, okay? No one could say anything when Crystal pointed out the girl. Y'all try to get on Garcelle about basically having Sutton's back, but y'all protect each other all the time, and they pretty much just kind of sit there. Cause that's the thing. Like, it's weird. Like, it's almost like they think that they're smarter than everybody else, and nobody sees what's going on. Even if Garcelle does have Sutton's back, y'all do the same thing, and it's four or five of y'all. Like, even Cal is gonna always explain what Diana meant, and that's how Cal gets herself into trouble. Cause you shut up, okay? Sutton brings up. See, this is where Sutton also. See, Sutton be low key getting on my. I love Sutton, but girl, Sutton low key getting on my nerves too. Sutton brings up not knowing the Watch What Happens Live incident, right? Well, she didn't bring it up. Andy brought it up. She didn't really know. I guess her making that comment about Harry and Lisa was going to cause so much basically drama. Her whole point. I got what Sutton was trying to say, basically to a certain degree. The point she said she was trying to make was basically, girl, you didn't say thank you either, right? But it's also like, girl, at this point you had to have known that Lisa is the type of person that, girl, once you give her a little bit of string, girl, she's going to pull and 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 pull. So it's almost like, girl, who did you think you were dealing with? You see? Where you didn't expect this to blow up. Does Lisa hate Sutton? I don't think Lisa hates Sutton. I don't. I think that Lisa used Sutton as a punching bag. She did. And I think that because they are a little bit afraid, they're kind of afraid to go after Garcelle because they are nervous about being called a racist. The next best thing to do is to go after Sutton. Lisa and her mama. Let me say something. No tea, no shade. I just got into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 10. But Lisa, they say you been a bitch. That's what they say. I don't know. They say you been a bitch. So your mama dying really ain't had nothing to do with you being a bitch to Sutton. And quiet as it's kept, I'm about to say something, and I've said this, and I'm going to stand by it. Just because people die doesn't mean that gives you a license to go around and treat people like shit. I do think that the majority of people are understanding when it comes to especially death. Like, for example, I remember this one lady at my job. We found out that her son had died, and one of my coworkers was like, before we found out, one of my coworkers was like, I can't stand her. She a bitch. She asked her something one day, and she kind of had an attitude, and she never saw it for her since that incident happened. And then when we found out her son had died, because she was basically telling somebody else that she didn't fool. She was like, I don't fool with her. She got an attitude. Fuck that bitch. And so she was like, girl, you know her son just died. And so that put a little bit that provided us with a little bit of perspective why she was acting like she was acting. So the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of times I do think that the majority of human beings, once they find out that if somebody was kind of a bitch to them or was an asshole, that they will, and they find out, that it was a death in the family, your mama died, your son died, your husband died, we will kind of be like, oh, okay, now I see why she probably has been kind of cutting up and acting up, right? With Lisa, girl, you were only a bitch towards Sutton. So it's kind of like, I could wrap my head around it if you were like snapping at everybody, but you were just snapping at Sutton. So it's like, and again, with that being said, that doesn't mean that just because some people give you an allowance to be an asshole for the day, that everybody is. Because Lisa would have got her ass cursed out a long time ago, mama dead or not. I understand your mother just died, but what you're not going to do is keep treating me like a punching bag, bitch. Because I'm only going to allow it for so long before I start punching back. Okay? I wish Sutton would have came at Lisa like that. You're not going to keep disrespecting me and talking to me crazy and walking all over me just because your mother died. Because there are a lot of people in this world whose mothers have passed away, whose sons have passed away, whose children have passed away. And girl, they don't walk around here treating people like shit. So you're not going to get no pass either. Okay? Anyways, let's move on. Lisa's social media presence. I'm not gonna lie. I've told y'all this, that I ain't gonna lie. I kind of do like, for the girls, I kind of like Lisa Rinna. I'm not gonna lie. I do. Lisa has her ways, but I also know that Lisa does a lot. Well, I'm not gonna say I know, but I think that Lisa does a lot of what she does just because it's a TV show. Like, I do think Lisa thinks that she's acting. That's why I really don't take a lot of stuff, what Lisa does, too seriously. But I think that some of the things that she does do, it still needs to be called out, right? Even though I think that bitch you acting, okay, girl. Okay, girl. I need you to go back to the drawing board because, mama, you pull it. You doing too much. But so even with Lisa low-key, at one point being one of my faves on the show, I started to notice how Lisa was on social media. I'm like, girl, she's a hot girl. Like, I like to come to my own conclusion about people when I come to the conclusion. Like, I don't need y'all telling me, girl, you should hate her. Or why you like her? Because she ain't did nothing to me. Girl. Now, maybe if I was tuned in since Lisa got on the show, then maybe I would feel a different way. But in my mind, Lisa, since season 10, yeah, she's a bitch, but it's like she's an entertaining bitch to me. Like, girl, she just like, girl, ain't nobody worried about no Lisa Rinna. I know she doing this just for the show. But once I started seeing her and how she, again behaved online, I was like, ooh, girl, Lisa, you might be a bitch in real life. Like, it's one thing for me to think that you pulling stunts and shows for the show. It's another thing for me to start believing that, girl, outside of the show, girl, you could possibly be a bitch. Like, ooh. Girl. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, but I think I'm starting to see what people have been saying about you, But it also goes to show Lisa, and that little white privilege of hers, girl. Andy wants to call Candace a disaster on Twitter, but girl, at least Candace, when she going off on the cast, okay? Girl, Lisa, she going off on the cast. She got her microaggressions online. She's going off on production. And then, girl, quiet as it's kept, bitch, I will put Lisa on pause just to piss her off for one season. Put me on pause. That's what she told Andy. Put me on pause. Put me on pause. I don't care. You care. You care. I'm going to show you too. Watch season 13 come around and see how fast I put your ass on pause. Okay? Since you don't care. Because I can go hire somebody else to be a bitch. Like Lisa, like you, like that's the gag. Everybody is replaceable. And there are so many other people out there who I could bring on to be the messy bitch. And I could probably pay them less than what I'm paying you. So don't tempt me, Lisa Rinna. Okay? Cal and Crystal start going back and forth. Andy says that he thinks that they're having two different conversations. I don't know. I don't think they're having two different conversations. I think what Cal was trying to say. Okay, so this is what I think both were trying to say. I think Cal was trying to say, Heifer, your experience didn't happen. Therefore, nothing dark happened. Crystal was trying to say, I experienced what I experienced, but once I got to know Sutton and who she is, then I had to take that into account. And I realized that maybe the way that I felt at first, at this point, because I've gotten to know her, then maybe is not what I thought it was. That's what I think Crystal is trying to say. But Cal is saying, bitch, you didn't experience nothing because nothing happened. And girl, nothing happened that was dark. And girl, your story keep changing. See, that's another thing with Crystal, why I'm kind of back and forth on Crystal. Because Crystal, at one point when they asked you what was a dark thing, you said this. Then when you got to watch What Happens Live, you was like, well, it's actually something else. So it's kind of like, girl, what the fuck? So it's like you really don't know how to take Crystal because, girl, your story has changed multiple times. Again, I don't think that they were having two different conversations. I think that Cal was basically saying, bitch, ain't shit happened. Pretty much. Ain't nothing happened. Didn't nothing dark happen. You just making up shit. But Crystal is trying to say something did happen, but now that I know Sutton, I realize that maybe it wasn't what I thought that it was. Girl, it's just a mess, girl. They get ready for Kathy. Of course, Kathy pulls up to the show, pulling stunts and shows. She pulls up in a nightie and a robe and some house shoes. Yo, like Kathy, this is like this is another one. Like Kathy is really like a Lisa. Like Kathy is really acting. This is an acting job for Kathy. Like this is an acting job for Lisa Rinna. You know what I'm saying? Girl, Garcelle and Sutton and Crystal, they like, bitch, girl. Basically, it's about to get real in these streets, girl. Let's go take a shot. Girl, I know that's her. That's how you know. Bitch, they knew it was about to get rid of. Like, bitch, let's go take a shot. So they go take a shot. And then they pretty much left off on that note. All right, y'all. I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all girls later. Bye.